Morning, Trainiacs. Something that I want to talk to you about here today. I want to do a really quick video about the best thing that you can do for your triathlon training. The very best thing that you can do to increase your performance in swim, bike, run, strength training, weight management, craving management, everything is sleep. Sleep is the legal performance enhancer that makes everything that we do easier. Now, I know a bunch of you are probably saying, yeah, Taren, like, not an interesting video. But I want to show you something here that is really interesting that I've found over the past week has like actual scientific proof that it's going to help your sleep, your performance, your stress levels are all going to get better. Everything is going to become better if you do this one thing every day that is going to take no more extra time out of your schedule. So about a week ago, I ended up seeing on my Whoop strap, which they've sent this out to me, but they don't even know that I'm doing this video. They didn't even expect me to ever do a video mentioning this. But I started using it, and historically, my recovery hasn't been great because I've been recovering this entire year, not training a whole lot. So my HRV and my sleep has been a little bit low. Then a week ago, I ended up seeing that all of a sudden my recovery was really, really high. And my sleep was a lot better. I was getting more sleep. My HRV is a lot better. My 7-day rolling average is higher than my highest days 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Everything is tracking in the right direction. Everything is really good. And what I noticed that was actually really improving it, really the only change that I was making, is this. I was just lying down here on the couch every single night on this grounding mat. So this grounding mat is a $50 to $80 unit that I would just put my calves on every single night while we were watching TV. And I thought that it was maybe going to help a little bit, but according to a bunch of studies that I want to share with you before you start saying, Taren, hey, you know what? You're talking about sleep, you're talking about snake oil here, another gadget. I want to share with you some studies that have told me that I think this is a big reason why my sleep is improving, why my HRV is improving, and why I'm starting to train a little bit better now. So, a friend of mine gave me that grounding mat, and I was using it in the morning for a while because I'd heard that grounding was a thing, but to be honest with you, I thought that it was kind of like one of those, I talk about like the 99% of things that are really, really basic that cover 99% of your performance. Meanwhile, 1% of things amount to 99% of the things that you could do, but it really only amounts to the final 1% of your performance. Where the 99%, the getting the right amount of training, getting the right type of training, and getting good nutrition and sleep accounts for the vast majority of things, where all of the other things that we can do are like the icing on the cake. But when you think about it, if you can get better sleep, it makes that 99% way easier. Sleep is in that 99%. And I thought that this grounding mat was something that you just kind of did to make the things in your body work a little bit better, but I didn't realize the effect that it was going to have on sleep. I was skeptical. So when I started noticing that I was sleeping a little bit better last week, I dug into it. And I found a whole bunch of studies that conclusively said that a grounding mat will help with a number of things that are relative to our performance as triathletes. I'm going to share with you 4 of the key ones that I found. You can find a bunch of these studies yourself on anything that you want. I go to NCBI for all of these, and it's a whole bunch of databases that are compiled into this. It's like Google for studies. Now this one that I found, integrative and lifestyle medicine strategies should include earthing. grounding, a review of research, evidence, and clinical observations. And what this said is that the research, along with numerous anecdotal reports, demonstrates that earthing clearly deserves inclusion in the clinical practice of preventative, alternative, and lifestyle medicine, and has a great potential to render these approaches more effective. So essentially what this is saying is whatever you're going through, whether it's repair, whether it is recovery, it can be aided by the use of earthing or grounding. What's interesting about this is just the language that they use. When you start looking at a whole bunch of studies, which this one has done, and you see a study use the language that is demonstrates clearly deserves inclusion, more often than not, even things like beetroot powder, beet juice, which is basically generally accepted as an ergogenic aid to improve performance, the language in most of these studies that they use is shows some evidence of improvement and consideration. The words clearly, that's a rare thing for most studies to use. That's the first one. The next study is the effects of grounding or earthing on body workers' pain and overall quality of life, a randomized controlled trial. And essentially, the conclusions. We observed consistent beneficial effects of grounding in domains highly relevant to massage therapists, namely pain, physical function, and mood. These findings combine with prior results from this trial indicating improvements in inflammatory biomarkers, so lower inflammation, huge for us triathletes, blood viscosity, so the thickness of our blood, essentially what Lance Armstrong and everyone were doing back in the days of doping, and heart rate variability. Exactly what I've experienced, an improvement in your readiness to train and absorb training. Suggests that grounding is beneficial to massage therapists in multiple domains relevant to their occupation, supporting overall health and quality of life. Another study that is fairly strongly indicating that grounding helps. Next study here, earthing, the health implications of reconnecting the human body to the Earth's surface electrons. It sounds like a little bit of hocus pocus, but I'll show you very clearly. Cortisol levels before and after grounding. 24-hour cortisol secretion profile before grounding, sky high, and then cortisol secretion after grounding, very low, very moderate. That's a big thing for us triathletes. What happens when we train really hard is our cortisol spikes. And if we can't bring it down in an appropriate fashion, our body is going to start entering overtraining, and it's not going to actually be absorbing training. And then the final study here is better sleep quality, the biologic effects of grounding the human body during sleep. I found that before sleep it helps, but I haven't actually got a sleep mat to get on. I'm going to. As measured by cortisol levels and subjective reporting of sleep, pain, and stress, and the conclusion state, results indicate that grounding the human body to earthing during sleep reduces nighttime levels of cortisol. That's fantastic for us because we get better sleep, and resynchronizes cortisol hormone secretion more in alignment with our natural 24-hour circadian rhythm profile. Changes were most apparent in females. Furthermore, subjective reporting indicates that grounding the human body to earth during sleep improves sleep and reduces pain and stress. Now, these are just 4 of a whole bunch of studies that are out there. But what really gets interesting about this when you think about it is that if you go on Amazon and all you have to do is search earthing mat, grounding mat, something along those lines. They're usually around this size, and all you have to do is plug it into the grounding socket of an electrical outlet that is grounded, and then you just lie on it. And when you think about all of the things and all of the money that we spend on everything that we do as triathletes, going for hour-long massages, acupuncture, and floating, physiotherapy, on and on and on, or spending upwards of $1,000 to $4,000 on a set of race wheels, or $300 to $400 on a set of shoes that are only going to last 100 to 200 miles. When you look at the cost per return on what it can mean to your performance, $40 to $80 for better sleep is going to potentially, depending on how your sleep is right now, supercharge your performance. Because one of the things that is consistently talked about with pro triathlete after pro triathlete after pro triathlete, all of them are superhuman sleepers. Like, they are complete stars of the sleep game. Most of them, in my experience, on average, get around 8.5 to 9.5 hours of sleep a day. And the data support that up until about 9 hours of sleep, the more you sleep, literally the better you perform. So, 40 to 80 bucks, no extra time, improved sleep, which is 100% going to improve your triathlon training and your body composition and your cravings and your mood and on and on and on. That's a pretty good return on investment. Now, I'm not saying that this is something that everyone should use, but I'm saying that at least it is one of those things that could be looked at as the 1% of things that you really don't have to think about. But I would actually put it into the 99% of things that you should certainly consider, because it is having such a distinct and clear effect on sleep, which is in that 99%. So it's one of those things that might be hard to interpret if you should or shouldn't look at it. And this is my experience, and hopefully it helps you out. If you aren't already subscribed and you like things like this, tips on triathlon training and a little bit of health, we come out with videos every single week. So hit that subscribe button below. Later, Trainiacs.